Tonight on the Black Channel. Don't look now, but the alt-right is now turning their guns on each other. I suggest you all duck. Bullets are flying everywhere. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college and university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You're, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, boy, I'm telling you, there's a lot of lessons to be learned in this regard. There are a lot of lessons to be learned from what's going on here. Okay, so here we are a week or so out from Candace Owens being fired. And man, over there on the alt-right and alt-right media, they are having a field day, taking pot shots at each other. There's no honor among thieves. There's no honor among thieves. And there's no honor among white supremacists. Just understand that. At any moment, at any time, a brawl can break out. Whenever somebody looks like they're going down, it creates a scramble for the ball. And that's what you're starting to notice here now. Mark Dice. For those of you who know your alt-right people online and whatnot, Mark Dice, who's been never seen black folk getting gunned down anywhere that he didn't support. But oh boy, old Mark has a bone to pick with the Daily Wire. They think Ben Shapiro is weak, and man, he goes for the jugular.
Well, Ben Shapiro was asked again about why Candace Owens was fired, and I'll play that clip and so much more for you in just
fair use, by the way, YouTube, everybody else there. Fair use, by the way, fair use. This is definitely transformative.
Well, Ben Shapiro was asked again about why Candace Owens was fired, and I'll play that clip and so much more for you in just a moment. As you know, him and the Daily Wire are in a panic. They're in the midst of a growing PR nightmare over the firing of Candace Owens, which they did last Friday on a news dump day, hoping to minimize the controversy. But the controversy just didn't spark from firing Candace Owens. It really went supernova because of their odd code of silence about why they fired Candace, which is extremely obvious to everyone. Now Joe Rogan has weighed in on the situation, siding with Candace, and after his utterly bizarre and just pathetic interview with Piers Morgan, which was supposed to be about something else, but then, well, the elephant in the room got brought up to Pierce's credit, and he didn't just let Ben off the hook. He pressed him and pressed him and pressed him again, while little Ben just sat there smirking, saying nothing. So he sat down face to face with his good friend Dave Rubin, the token gay guy of Conservative Inc., who, along with his husband, recently just bought several children through surrogacy, something I covered in a previous video at the time.
So as you can see, old Mark has pulled out the long knives, not even the short ones. I mean, he's pulled out the long knives. Man, not letting up. I mean, the gloves are off. The gloves are off over there. I mean, if you can bring it in the room, you can use it. So, I mean, he's going at Ben Shapiro and the boys hammer and tong. And obviously, he's making an issue with them being Jewish, gay, surrogate children, whole 9 yards. Boy, I'm telling you. By the way, keep that in mind. Keep that little line in mind, by the way. Keep that little line in mind.
In order to, well, spin a bunch of lies and try to gaslight what fans he has left.
All right, so let's do the elephant in the room for just a moment, because I saw you this week on Piers Morgan. He asked you repeatedly about Candace. You repeatedly basically said,
I won't talk about that. I'll say that here too.
Yeah, and that's
Now, isn't that interesting? Ben Shapiro had no problem attacking Candace Owens when she worked for the Daily Wire, so he didn't need any help talking about her then. Very interesting. Now, all of a sudden, I don't want to say anything. So, Ben Shapiro has always been a slimy little reptilian vermin. He always has been that. And this right here is maximum slime. And I'm not a Candace Owens supporter one way or the other. You all already know my record on that. But by the way, dude, if you don't want to look like the villain, this is not the way to do it.
fine. And it's interesting because we all sort of came up together to different extents, and we've all done a million things together.
You've all made tens of millions of dollars in the inner sanctum of Conservative Inc., with Dave Rubin spending a measly $5.2 million on a nice mansion.
Folks, now this is Mark Dice throwing it out there. Not the new black media, not Jason Black. This is Mark Dice. This is their buddies doing it, telling you that, these guys on the right wing, this stuff makes millions of dollars. That Mr. Rubin here can go, and you don't see him on your screen right now, but he can go and buy a mansion. Why, he can go off and go buy a whole mansion. White supremacy pays. See, this is the thing we've been telling you all about here for years now. There isn't any money in black empowerment. There is no money in doing what we do. Some hotep hobo on a street corner somewhere trying to resell used comic books will tell you that, they make DVD. There's no, black empowerment is not where the money is. White supremacy is where the money is. Cooning is where the money is. Appealing to them, that's where the money is. The money is over there, man. The money is over there, just so you all can see what he was talking about. The Rubin Report creator buys modern Encino mansion. Damn! The money is over there on their side. We've been telling you this forever, from George Zimmerman to Kyle Rittenhouse to the Rubin Report to Ben Shapiro to the Daily Wire to Candace Owens.
Auntie, chill.
The money is on their side. The money has always been on their side. Always. And these other folks get that, so they're just now admitting to what we have said the entire time. They're just now admitting to that, what we've been saying here forever. The money is in white supremacy. The money is in what they do. The money isn't appealing to their audience. That's where the money is. It's not over here. It's always been over there. And now that's the other thing they're fighting with each other over is, by the way, who gets to run the tables. That's what they're fighting over now, is who gets to run the tables. Who gets to run this thing and who gets to own this thing. Shouldn't come as a surprise to you. I'm just doing a little bit of housekeeping to confirm for you. By the way, we said the whole damn time, there's where the money is. And by the way, I wonder if his neighbors in that neighborhood there have a problem with Mr. Rubin living there.
Spending a measly $5.2 million on a nice mansion.
Can you at least talk to just sort of where it's at now? She's not with you. She's free.
She's free to do whatever she wants to do.
I'm sorry, we need a quick fact check here, because she is not free to do whatever she wants or to say whatever she wants, because every single mainstream personality at any major network signs a contract that has a non-disparagement clause in the contract, which means that for the rest of their life, they will never be able to speak negatively of that network or any of their personalities ever. Have you heard Tucker Carlson expose Fox News since he left? No, because of the non-disparagement clause. Oh, and another fun fact about the business. This may end up being another one of those long and in-depth reports, so grab a cup of coffee or something and sit tight because there's a lot to get into. Is that it's also standard in these contracts to have an arbitration clause. And what that means is that if an employee is fired, after they're fired, if they decide to sue their former employer, the network, or if the network decides to sue a former host because they start mouthing off and, disparaging them, then that is all done in secret. Because normally when somebody...
I mean, boy, I'm telling you, he's throwing all that stuff out there. They're going at each other, man.
Comes to the hosts on the Daily Wire. Obviously, everyone was able to say what they want. Nobody ever comes to me and says, you can't say X. Nobody ever says that to Walsh, and no one ever said that to Candace.
But you just said that the Daily Wire would fire any host who was staunchly pro-abortion, and that's their right. Any news organization has an editorial policy, and if one of their hosts starts saying things that violate the editorial policies or what the corporate controllers want hosts to say, that's perfectly within their right to fire them. I think most people would just like you to admit the obvious unwritten rule in conservative media that if you dare criticize Israel, no matter how mild, how reasonable, if you show an ounce of sympathy for the dead Palestinian women and children, then you get fired. But here's where the lies get laughable.
There are a lot of people who are suggesting this is about disagreements over Israel. I mean, I can safely say it is not about disagreements over Israel to the extent that, without reference to Candace at all here, Matt Walsh has taken the position that America ought not be involved in the Middle East at all. That's just a pure isolationist position. I disagree with it. I think it's wrong. I think that it's short-sighted. But again, he's on our platform. That is well within the range of acceptable discourse at the Daily Wire.
Did you catch that? Ben's a lawyer. He went to Harvard Law. He's very intelligent, very cunning.
No, he might be intelligent and cunning to you, but no, actually, he's not that bright. When he's debating high schoolers, he's barely able to keep up. But anybody else, no.
Said, well, it's not about disagreements over Israel to the extent that, and then cited the opposition to financially and militarily getting involved in Israel's business, which Matt Walsh is opposed to. So technically, on rare occasions, a Daily Wire host could mention that they're just a non-interventionalist, but then they would know, and Matt Walsh knows, that he's getting pretty close to crossing that unwritten rule. But if they mention it too many times, then they would be called an anti-Semite because they would be considered fixating on anti-Israeli policies. The straw that broke the camel's back with Candace Owens was her expressing sympathy for the thousands of dead innocent civilians, many women and children in Gaza. That's not allowed because then you're making Israel look bad. You're only supposed to consider every single Palestinian to be guilty, to be a member of Hamas or...
Now, I want you all to understand, these have been long-simmering, long-standing grudges that they've been harboring with each other. There's been long-standing grudges, but I do not want you to be deceived. Do not be deceived about what you're seeing and what you're hearing. Don't be fooled. Recognize what it is you actually hear. These are not alt-right and right-wingers and racists going at each other. They are only fighting over whose vision of white supremacy should lead the masses. That's all they're fighting over. Whether it should be Anglo-white supremacy setting the template or white Jewish white supremacy setting the template. That's all they're fighting over. That's it. But what they are not doing is fighting over justice. Now, justice isn't in the room. Justice isn't anywhere even around. They are only going at each other, as I told you in my documentary film, Race War. Richard Spencer and Jared Taylor, their differences and disagreements are only about who is going to determine who leads the white supremacist movement. That's all that's about. And don't be deceived today. They are not sitting up here fighting over Palestinian children. They're fighting over who gets to lead this thing, and they see an opening. The Jewish white supremacists over there at Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro, they see they're vulnerable. They see they're vulnerable, and they're going in for the kill. They see that they look vulnerable, and they're going in for the kill. This is the time to go ahead and knock them off, so that you can go ahead and get back to anglicizing. Look it up. So you can go back to fundamentalizing this vision of white supremacy here. The Anglos are like, we need to be running this thing. We are the true believers. This belongs to us. You Jewish folk, by the way, there's rumors that genetically you all are mixed with them Negroes, so you cannot be at the top of the ladder. So that's what this is about. The Anglo white supremacists finally see an opening to bump off their nearest rival, and they're going for it.
Or a Hamas sympathizer. Stay tuned, because there's plenty more to come in this video, but real quick, subscribe to my channel if you're new here, because you're obviously not going to get information and analysis like this.
Not a snowball's chance in hell on a microwave. Mark Dice.
They first started having an argument about the situation back in November. They consider that to be anti-Semitic. And I mentioned this in the previous report, and this video is going to be mostly new information. And so there's something very odd that happened. This popular Twitter account called Censored Men, which has almost 1 million Twitter followers, posted this rather lengthy statement claiming that several Daily Wire employees reached out to them and said that that was the reason. Now, I'm very skeptical of this. This could easily be total hoax. It could be that several trolls DM'd them and said that they were employees. And
so as you all can see on your screen here, what they're saying now is that Candace was fired for saying Christ is king. Because Jeremy Boring and the rest of the crew over there at the Daily Wire, they're now saying that saying Christ is king is anti-Semitic. So that's what's happening there now.
Maybe they didn't fact check it, but what's odd is that this is a very popular account, over almost 1 million followers, and a very popular post that went viral yesterday. And so far, at the time that I'm recording this video, Jeremy Boring has not denied it, which is very strange. I wouldn't expect him to respond to all the rumors out there. And of course, they've been very mum about the whole situation, but to not respond to this is odd. And again, just briefly, in case you missed it, he posted a very lengthy Twitter post saying that Christ is king can easily be considered anti-Semitic, and it just depends on the context and why somebody says it to a Jewish person. And then he hopped on a Twitter space and doubled down on that view, which is very strange, because if that's considered anti-Semitic, or even using the Lord's name in vain is what he said it could be, if you're using it to try to, harass some Jewish person, then isn't calling yourself the God King of the Daily Wire considered to be blasphemous? That's what he arrogantly calls himself. That's what all of their on-air talent call him, the God King. Back in November, when Candace Owens posted this scripture about how blessed.
So you can see what's happening here. They're saying, oh, her saying Christ is king. That was what got her canned at the Daily Wire. And it's like, well, that was part of it, sure. That was part of it. But, yeah, they were upset about that. Oh, not to be outdone. The other alt-right YouTube media, The Quartering, they've been jumping on the Daily Wire too. Now, before now, they were kind of muted in what they were saying. Before now, they were really reserved in what they were saying. Oh, no. We going at them hammer and tong now. We're going at them hammer and tong now. Oh, they're jumping in there. And he was going on the Christ is King thing. So these guys are getting on they're getting on code that, oh, this is a Jewish issue. They're getting on code about this Jewish issue. And I want you all to understand, you're dealing with two white groups who are battling it out over who's going to lead. They're battling it out over who is going to lead this thing. That's what the fight is over. I want you to listen to some of what the quartering had to say here.
Defense from various people. She went on the Breakfast Club. I guess did pretty good. Then Ben seems to be going on everybody's show. It's like he's doing the rounds, Piers Morgan. Then he goes on another friendly podcast with Dave Rubin, who I don't even know why he's relevant anymore. But I guess he's got to keep money up so he can buy more babies.
What? Oh, yeah. If you thought that Mark Dice was the only one taking shots about Dave Rubin and buying children, if you thought that Mark Dice was the only one taking shots about that, that's why I told you, remember that buying kids line. Remember that one. So, I mean, the gloves are off, man. The gloves are off. It's down and dirty. It's down and dirty. If you can bring it in the ring, you can use it. Hook and sling, we doing whatever. We doing whatever. Folks, they're in it to win it, but I do not want you to be confused about what you are seeing. Yes, it has formed a circular firing squad, but then again, throughout history, when white supremacy goes in a straight line, eventually you're going to see them go into this loop. They kind of loop onto themselves, and that's where this circular firing squad starts. That's where the circular firing squad starts. I don't want you all to be deceived because there is a difference in this. This is part of white supremacy refining itself. What? I want you to understand that. This is part of white supremacy refining itself. This is the refining and the cleansing process. You see, they are addicted to purity. They are addicted to order. They have a strict adherence to cohesion and discipline. So when somebody is off code, they immediately start working on it. When somebody is off code, they immediately go to work on it. They might fly below the radar for a little while, but eventually the real thing is going to come out. I want you all to understand what I've been teaching you now for over 15 years. It's not a plus when you got two white supremacist groups who are simply fighting over which one of them is going to get to abuse us first. They're only fighting and arguing over which one of them is going to make the rules for abusing us. That's what they're fighting over. Now, the word in there about civilized thought, civilized action, justice, not a word about that. It's about power. It's like watching the damn Sith from Star Wars. It's like watching the Sith Lords from Star Wars. That's all it is. There are no good guys in this story. This is an all-villain story. Everybody here is a villain, including Candace Owens. Everybody here is a bad guy. Everybody here is a perpetrator. Everybody here is one of the wrongdoers. Nobody here is a good guy. And when they are done fighting, what you will have is a more purified, evil organism. Candace Owens cannot return to black society. Candace Owens understands that. Candace Owens knows she's not going to be able to come back. Candace Owens knows there are not enough YouTube coons to redeem her image. They don't speak for the masses. The buck dancing coons online who try to defend her, unfortunately for Candace, they don't speak for the masses. So she's not going to be able to make any traction because they don't speak for her. I mean, they don't speak for us. All they can do is sit there and touch on themselves and rub on themselves and wish they could be a bed wench for the females, but they don't actually set the tone for any of us. That's the problem that they have. If you agree that they do not set the tone for any of us, give me the hammer emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. It's almost 4,000 people in here live. And if you agree, the Candace Owens supporters, there's too few of them, too far between, and too weak, and they don't speak for any of us, and they don't speak for the masses, give me the hammer emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. Candace knows she cannot return to black society. She is going to face too many hard questions. She's not going to be able to talk her way out of it. She has said too much. Her life reads like a highlight reel of coonery and buffoonery. She doesn't want to touch that anywhere. So what she's going to attempt to do instead is she's going to attempt to fall back. She's going to try to dabble over here, but understand she will not be able to cross over. You can't go on Fresh and Fit all the damn time. Her thing is politics. She has absolutely no credibility. Nobody wants to take lessons from the Bedwench Chronicles.
Auntie, chill!
Nobody is looking to buy a new fresh copy of How to Be a Bedwench. Cooking for Coons. Nobody's looking for that. So she's not going to be able to make any traction in that area. No, you're not softening us up, and you're not making it easier for you to be heard over here. That, understand, your little dalliances, look it up. Your little flirtations with these other places ain't helping you. Black society doesn't look to Fresh and Misfit for its leadership. We don't look to them for that. Nobody's looking to them for that. By the way, my likes are kind of low here tonight, so I may wrap things up early. We'll see how things go here in just a moment, but just saying here, if folks don't like it, that's perfectly fine. I just thought it would give us an update about that. By the way, they're over there having a circular firing squad, and among other things here, there was one thing that stuck out at me. There was one thing that stuck out at me big. There was one thing that got my attention in a major way. What got my attention was I was looking for the big dogs. I was looking for the bosses. That's who I was looking for. I was looking for the bosses. I was looking for the people who run this thing. That's whose input I was looking for. Ladies and gentlemen, I was looking for Fox News. Now, you would figure that with two people, Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, who frequently showed up on Fox News, at least up until a year ago, you would figure that Fox News would at least have something to say about this. Man, they've been following Diddy around for over a week. But this situation with the Daily Wire, they ain't really talking about it. How many of you noticed that? This situation with Candace Owens and the Daily Wire, why Fox News has been ominously quiet. Now, the biggest story on the right, among the young aspiring white supremacists, the biggest story on the right, and Fox is mum's the word? Now, how does that happen? How does that happen? Explain to me when you see them all sitting up here doing this and that happens. Explain that to me. Where are they to rally the troops and get everybody on the same page and make sure everybody's on code? Where are they? Where are they? That's the thing I want you to understand. Where are they? Why do you think they're so quiet right now? Why do you think they're so quiet right now? Why do you all think they're being so quiet? Because they don't know who's going to win. They don't know who's going to win. They don't know who's going to win this. And they're afraid of getting on the wrong side. They're afraid of ending up on the wrong side of this because they don't know who's going to win. Because while Fox has cable TV wrapped up, they don't have the internet wrapped up. They need these folks who are younger and more in tune. That's who they rely on to be their foot soldiers online, and they are afraid. They're afraid of the Daily Wire because the Daily Wire has plenty of money, and they are afraid of Candace Owens and Mark Dice because they've got plenty of influence. That's the issue there. And here's the deadliest part of all. Fox can't say anything about any of these people because Fox News has spent the last decade legitimizing all of them.
And deal with it, nigga.
That's the problem. Jason, why can't Fox speak up? Because Fox News has spent the last decade legitimizing both sides. They spent the last decade legitimizing Ben Shapiro and legitimizing Candace Owens. You've already legitimized them, so to hold any type of discussion discussing either one of them, it's gonna hurt the other. You can't sit here and do what they did and legitimize these people for a decade and then all of a sudden release the hounds. They're in a hell of a spot over there at Fox. You legitimize both of these wild dogs and now they're fighting with each other and you can't really pick a side. You don't have the luxury or the option of picking a side. Man, this is messy. Don't worry, eventually it's going to get sorted out, but this is messy. Oh, they want to be able to do something, but how do you do it? This is messy as hell. Because you know that eventually they want to dump Candace Owens. Eventually we're going to shut her down. But they're not able to do that just yet. They're not able to do it just yet. So it's not time for Candace to go just yet. And right now, public sentiment is not in favor of all these overseas foreign adventures. It certainly isn't backing Israel. So Candace Owens has come down on the right side of the issue, pardon the expression. And the Daily Wire is useful. The Daily Wire is useful because they're the cannon fodder. They're the ones you get to march out there to do crazy stuff. But it doesn't get on you, it gets on them. So it's essential to have a Candace Owens. You need that. But they also need a Daily Wire. So how do you sort this out without bashing one of them? Because that's the only thing these two groups want to do right now. Also, to complicate matters even further, not only are you prohibited, if you're Fox News, you are prohibited from bashing either party. True, very true. You are also prohibited from boosting either party.
What?
So Fox News is stuck between the devil and the deep white sea. They are between the devil and the deep blue-eyed sea. They are stuck between the two. They can't bash either one of you, and they can't boost either one of you either. Remember, the Fox News channel supports unlimited support of the state of Israel. Fox News can't back off of that because supporting Israel is a fundamental part of maintaining American power in the Middle East. So Fox can't abandon supporting Israel at all costs. That's been their bread and butter. That's been the only thing they've ever talked about. So they can't actually say that. They can't do that. So you can't support Israel. I mean, you can't deny Israel support, but right now supporting Israel is very unpopular. So as a core of your own personal principles, you gotta support Israel, but right now you can't support them too much because it's unpopular to do so. Even among right-wing conservatives, it is unpopular to support Israel right now. Candace Owens is on the more popular side of the issue. Fox is in a hell of a bind. They don't know what to do. They're in a hell of a bind. They don't know what to do. They gotta pick a horse, but and they're not picking one. And let me be clear, I'm just the first person you all heard asking this, but I assure you, especially after tonight, I won't be the last one. Hey, Fox News, why are you not saying anything? Aren't you supposed to be the parents in the room who come and sort this stuff out? Why aren't you saying anything? Why aren't you coming out here and sorting this out for them? I'm telling you, they're waiting to see which way this is going to go because they know whoever wins the war of words online is going to win it everywhere else. They know whoever wins this online is going to come out the victor at everything else, and they are afraid. They are afraid. And they should be. And they should be, because these are the times right here that put people in a bind. These are the times right here that change dynamics. There's a scramble for the ball, and it is not at all certain that the Daily Wire, even with the superior financial resources, there is absolutely no guarantee whatsoever that they're going to make it out of this okay. It's moments like this that permanently delegitimize someone. Ben Shapiro right now is in dangerous peril of becoming the next Nick Fuentes. Ben Shapiro is right now, they're trying to set Ben Shapiro up to be the next Nick Fuentes. Yeah, he's on the right, but he's persona non grata. Yeah, he's on the right, but folks can't really fool with him. Yeah, he's on the right, but his reputation is so battered and his credibility is so diminished that he's no longer effective at leading. That's what's going on right now. That's what they're trying to do to Ben Shapiro right now, and they've been waiting a while to do this. One of the things that Mark Dice drug out was, by the way, is Ben Shapiro was making comments that seemed to be supportive of Hillary Clinton back in 2016. I mean, they are completely going at delegitimizing him across the board. They're trying to remove him altogether. And if they continue going, yeah, it can work. If they continue going, yeah, it can work. It sure can. It certainly can work. That's exactly what you're looking at right now. It could work. Now, I want you all to understand, though, yeah, it could work, but I don't want you to be under any delusions about what it means. I want you to be neither under delusions nor illusions. If Ben Shapiro gets knocked off, they're just going to replace him with another one. So Ben Shapiro getting knocked off, that's not the end of the situation. They don't want to just knock off Ben Shapiro. They want to knock off the Daily Wire. This is a full court press to delegitimize the Daily Wire. Also, this is a full court press to delegitimize Fox News. Oh, I said it. The alt-right circular firing squad, this is it. This is the moment they've been waiting on for a while. A bunch of these folks who were never able to get a deal at Fox, were never able to get the support of, what they're calling a big conservative or corporate conservative. These guys are rallying and they're saying, you know what? Why would we want to get on Fox News? Let's take them down. Megyn Kelly is gone. Tucker Carlson is gone. And in case nobody noticed, Fox News is having a hell of a time finding their next Tucker Carlson, aren't they? Remember, Tucker Carlson slid into place immediately after Bill O'Reilly was fired from Fox News. Tucker Carlson is gone. By the way, anybody seen the replacement for Tucker yet? Has anybody been able to see who's going to replace Tucker? That was a huge loss, primarily because you didn't have anybody in place to slide in Tucker's position. Now you're sitting up here with this big ass gap on your channel, and it used to be the common wisdom that all you had to do there was slide anybody into the seat and the audience would show up. Problem, Tucker was way too popular. Tucker was way too popular, and you don't have somebody to put in his position. People do not, Fox News' audience does not agree with Fox News firing him over all those lies about Dominion voting machines. They don't agree with that. They don't agree with it. So Fox finds itself in a quandary. What do you do when your core audience has positions diametrically opposed to you now, and you don't have anybody with any credibility who can cover for you? What do you do? What do you do when you find yourself in this position? What do you do when you find yourself in a position where most of the people that you would hire are saying, you know what? It's a lot easier for me to sit on the internet and bash you. There's more power to be gained by sitting on the internet taking you to task. Or should I say, there's a lot more power to be gained as a conservative today by being anti-Fox. Now, most of them will not call out Fox directly, but they're certainly calling out anything and everything that Fox supports. Steven Crowder did that. Mark Dice is doing that. The Quartering is doing that. Look for Candace Owens to start doing it. Candace Owens, mark my words. I'm not talking about what's happened before now. I'm talking about now. Mark my words. Candace Owens is going to try to get booed up with Tucker Carlson. Fox News is not an option. She can't go get booed up with Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly is not going to have a younger set of ovaries challenging her for the geriatric vote. So Megyn Kelly, there is no lane for Candace Owens over there with Megyn Kelly. Look for Candace Owens to make more inroads with Tucker Carlson. Look for that. My prediction is it'll be between Tucker Carlson and Valuetainment. That's my prediction. I don't know if Valuetainment has a big enough bag for that. You can't believe what these folks say online on YouTube. I don't know if they got a big enough bag for that. I don't know. But what I do know is she's not going to try to go to Fox, and she's not going to try to go to Megyn Kelly. I think that she sees herself more aligned with Tucker Carlson. She's not a threat to Tucker Carlson. He can support her without it diminishing him. And she's going to buck dance and fall in line to whatever he wants. So I predict that's the way it's going to come down. She's going to try to get, she's not going to go for the Fox News crowd. She's going to try to get booed up with Tucker. So not supporting Israel, not supporting Ukraine, and eventually she's going to have to get around to not supporting Fox News. At some point, she's going to have to do it. But it'll be easier for her to do it now because Fox News has not supported Candace. It'll be easier for her to do it because she will be able to point out to everyone, by the way, Fox News hasn't been supporting us. And because Tucker Carlson is no longer there, she no longer has to worry about the only real microphone that could diminish her credibility coming after her. Tucker's not there anymore, so there isn't anybody still at Fox News today who has more popularity among the right-wing conservative base than Candace does. Now, there are people who got more credibility than her, but there isn't anybody still at Fox who has more pull than she does. There's some people online who have more pull than her, but there's nobody at the Fox Corporation on their payroll, on their television airwaves, who's got more credibility than her and more pull than her. So she's not really going to be hard pressed to get mobbed up with them. She's going to be looking to see how she can do her own thing, but she needs more support. Daily Wire is obviously out. So my prediction is she's going to try to get Tucker Carlson to give her his blessing. Whether or not it works, I don't know. I don't know if it'll work, but I do know they're going to go for it. I do know they're going to go for it. It's been very interesting to watch. It's been very interesting to watch, but I also don't want you all to be deceived about what you're seeing right here. I've taught you this forever. Warfare is communication in a system of white supremacy. I want you all to understand these folks going at each other, it doesn't mean the same thing to them that it means to you. It doesn't mean the same thing to them that it means to you. Seeing them go at each other and bash each other and things, it doesn't mean the same thing to them that it means to you. Remember when Donald Trump was running for president both times? Donald Trump was running for president both times. Did you see the way that his Republican challengers were talking about him? Did you see the way he was talking about his Republican challengers? And just as soon as he had stomped Ron DeSantis out of consciousness, I mean, as soon as he put his boot on Ron DeSantis' neck and stomped his ass all the way out, what did Trump say? All right, everybody needs to get back together again here. That's the way that works. This is about simply establishing who's gonna lead. That's what they're doing. This is about establishing who's gonna lead. And they are throwing everything, including the kitchen sink. And then, once the matter is settled and the people have chosen who their spokesperson is going to be and the people have chosen who they're going to side with, for the most part, most of these folks are going to fall in line. For the most part, most of these people, when the dust settles and they finish throwing brick bats at each other and finish hurling invectives, when it's over, most of them are going to fall in line. Yeah, there are going to be some salty ones, don't get me wrong. There will be some salty ones when it's over, but those people maintain their saltiness at their peril. Yeah, I mean, there are going to be some salty ones, but the salty ones maintain their saltiness at their own peril. It's not really going to be advisable for you to remain salty. Remember what I told you all about Megyn Kelly. You all saw me predict that one right here on the program. You all heard me call that one in real time. You all heard me call that one a week ahead. I'm sitting up here saying Megyn Kelly is trying to get herself ingratiated to the Fox News crowd because she's on Donald Trump's bad side. And when Trump calls her out and starts ragdolling her, she's going to say nothing. What happened a week later? I played the audio. Donald Trump at that rally. Megyn Kelly, she's pretending like she likes me now. Megyn didn't say a damn word. Donald Trump put the boots to her ass at that rally, and she didn't say a word. Exactly what I called it. She didn't say anything because she couldn't say anything. The people are behind Trump. And if Trump decides to run up and give you a pimp slap, you gonna have to sit there and wear your high heel shoes and get back to walking the track. But what you cannot do is buck up on him because the people are behind him. So if Megyn Kelly wishes to continue making any money after Fox News, she got to toe the line, even if the line she has to toe is, "Thank you, boss, may I have another?" Donald Trump won the conservative war. He won the right-wing uprising. He's won. His kinfolk now are running the Republican Party. Trump won. The war is over. Unless Joe Biden can stop him, the war is over. It's done. Now you can sit here and be in denial of it and find yourself cast into the wilderness, or you can roll with it. Megyn Kelly has showed you, I'm rolling with it. And so when whoever the victor is between Candace Owens and the Daily Wire, and by the way, I gotta tell you, it's not looking good for the Daily Wire. Let me explain to you over there, Ben Shapiro and the rest of y'all over there at the Daily Wire, let me explain to you where you messed up at. Let me explain to you where you screwed up at. Most of your folks may be white supremacists, but not all white supremacists are Jewish. That's the problem. That's the problem. And what you did was the problem is with people like Ben Shapiro, they sit around listening to people who agree with them all day. They sit around listening to people who already agree with them. So what happens is they have you in a bubble. They have you in a bubble over there, and he's only been listening to communication from within the bubble. Ben Shapiro doesn't talk to real people. He talks to guys like Rubin. He talks to guys like Tucker. He talks to them. He doesn't actually talk to real people in the real world. He doesn't do that. So when Ben Shapiro turns on his TV, because that's as close to communicating with the real world as he gets, he sees Fox News, and because Fox News is all the way down for Israel, Ben Shapiro just assumes everybody else feels the same way, and it's not true. It's not true. Increasingly, Fox News does not speak for the rank and file. Fox News doesn't speak for the rank and file. No, as I pointed out here before, the Anglos are asserting themselves now. They're asserting themselves where the white Latinos are concerned. They're asserting themselves where the Asians are concerned. And they are asserting themselves where the white Jews are concerned. The Anglos are asserting themselves now. And let me be clear, that's a smart thing for them to do. If you're going to have this fight, you need to have this fight early. If you're going to have this particular battle, you need to have this particular battle now. You do not want to have this fight in 5 or 6 years. You need to have this fight right now. You cannot look up and Ben Shapiro, and yes, I'm going to say it, Ben Shapiro is not supporting conservatism. He is supporting Zionism. And the problem is, most of your white conservatives are not Zionists. They do not see this as something worth supporting, nor do they see this as a hill worth dying on. Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire tipped their hand to the rest of the white supremacist establishment to let them know that they see white supremacy as a tool that these Zionist activists use. They don't care about America. They only care about what America can do for them as Jews. But they are not supporting America. This is why they have dual citizenship and 2 passports and all that. And to the Anglos are like, hey, we ain't got no two passports. The Anglos are telling them we don't have any 2 passports. We don't have any dual citizenship. We don't have another nation to claim us. We got America and that's it. So they're letting these folks with their dual allegiances and their ulterior motives know, yeah, you're not legitimate to run this. You're not legitimate to run this. So they are attempting to wrest control from them now. And bad news, Daily Wire is working. Bad news, it's working. The bad news for you is that this is working. They've been waiting in the wings for a while. See, what happened was you didn't put the right people on the payroll. The ones you could have put on the payroll, they refused to go. Steven Crowder refused to go. They made him an offer and he turned it down publicly. Mark Dice has turned him down. Candace Owens took the bag but couldn't hold it. And now they find themselves in a curious position as now they've had to form a firing squad. They figured, well, we'll go ahead and go after Candace, and they didn't imagine that there would be other white supremacists out there who would use Candace Owens as their shield to go after them. Oh, it's been real interesting to watch. It's been real interesting to watch, but don't be deceived. Yes, this is a dust-up. Yes, this is a falling out. Yes, this is a battle, but they do this all the time. This is what they do all of the time. Because this is how they determine who runs things. It is not enough for you to have just the most money. They are here to slug it out by any and all means. It is power and you can have it if you can keep it. It is power and you will be able to have it if you can keep it. Now, let me be clear. Let me be clear right quick for a moment here with you. Let me be clear about what you're about to hear next, okay? I don't want you all to be deceived about what you've seen and what you've heard. Don't be deceived about it. Understand, just like the Italians identify themselves as Italian, and the Irish identify themselves as Irish, but they have all jockeyed for a position in the white supremacist power structure, just like they did that. That is what these right-wing Jewish activists are trying to do now. They are trying to elbow their way into a solid position within white society. They don't want their position to be challenged or questioned anymore. They want in. They want in and they want a solid position. They want to have a solid position. So you see what they did. They're trying to out white supremacists, the white supremacists. Okay, but as soon as the white supremacists say, yeah, and we on top, they started bristling and they started pulling back and they started saying, hey, we can't do that. Yeah, because that's not what they came for. That's not what they came for. That is not what they came for. They want their position within that. And they see this as their moment to get that. But these other folks are letting them know, by the way, yeah, we're not going to have it. Why is this important? I'll explain to you why it's important. In white Jewish society, in case you all didn't notice, for the last 2,000 years, they have been trying to establish Jerusalem and by proxy Israel as the cultural and ethnic epicenter of white culture in the world. Do you all understand that? You can watch movies like Kingdom of God, and we can go down the list. They can't challenge the Roman Empire, but what they can say is that we're as old as the Roman Empire, and since you have a Abrahamic religion, then we are in fact the ethnic and cultural epicenter and genesis of white society. Do y'all understand that? What they are saying is that the cultural epicenter of white society is not in Europe, but is in Israel. Most of you did not figure that out. Most of you are hearing this for the first time here tonight. Understand what the point is they're trying to make. That, hey, since our religion is an Abrahamic religion that runs things, and these monuments that you're looking for is where our nation is, we are in fact the cultural and ethnic and religious epicenter of white society, not Israel. I mean, not Europe. Not Europe. They are trying to get everybody on code to accept that Israel is not just a satellite, that Israel is the place that you should be looking to. And if they can convince you of that, well, then you have no reason to keep them out of whiteness and all the tasty benefits that you receive thereof. Will the KKK get on board? First of all, the KKK has to get themselves organized. But second of all, take a look at the religions. The KKK has always been a logical contradiction. So if you're relying on the KKK to remain logical, I got bad news for you. The Ku Klux Klan is a logical contradiction. They give their allegiance to Jesus Christ, but they don't like the Jews. Every time they say something like that, you want to do the same thing I want to do. You want to tap me on the shoulder. Excuse me, Mr. White Supremacist. Yeah, I hate to break up the cross burning here. A little bit of trivia. From what tribe was Jesus from? Just between you and me. What do you think it is? Yeah. I'll let you light the match here in just a second, but one more thing. All right, down with the Jews. Got it. All right, understand. Jesus Christ. Yeah. What race was he again? What ethnicity was he again? I'm asking for a friend. Come on, folks. They've had them on talk shows. They get tongue-tied and everything else. They can't explain their way out of that. White supremacy is not about logic. It's not about logic. It's I'm white and I say so. And everybody who can qualify as white is always fighting and jockeying for position to run it. I've taught you this for over 15 years. They're only fighting over they're only battling each other over who gets the right to hold the knife that carves up the white supremacist cake. They're not fighting over the fact that there should be a white supremacist cake. They're only fighting over who gets to hold the knife to carve it up and decide how big the slices should be. That's the only thing they're fighting over. That's the only thing they're fighting over. So if you are looking for the Ku Klux Klan to be a bastion of consistency, keep looking. You ain't found it yet. Keep looking. You're not there yet. Folks, do you understand that these things are running all the time? Do you understand that they're running all the time? Over there in East India, how many of those people have been fighting all this time to be recognized as white? How many of them over there are fighting to be recognized as white? They're doing it now. And what's the first thing they do? They start arguing over, well, take a look at the history. Take a look at our history, and then they try to find parallels. You go down to South America. Who was it who made the biggest safe haven for Nazis? Why? White supremacy, of course. Can we have an in? When the Nazis let them know in South America, okay, we acknowledge you as white people. Let's be very, very clear about that. Yeah, they got to be the Anglos, but as long as they gave them South Americans down there the nod, okay, don't worry, you get to be honorary white folk. We will recognize you as white people. Once they got the nod, that was it. Once they got the nod, that was it. And you ain't been able to pull them back ever since. Everybody is always jockeying for that. So you see in South America, their claim is, well, we're booed up and allied from Nazi Germany, and they can't go back too much farther, but trust us, we white folks do. Over there in India, well, we're white people. You go down to the Middle East, give them a few more decades here. We're white folk too, ain't that right? Iran. By the way, what does Iran mean? Asking for a buddy. Folks, do you understand that there isn't really an argument in white homes over whether or not Jewish people are white? Do you realize that? There actually isn't an argument over their whiteness. The argument has always been what the argument has always been. Whether or not Jewish people should be allowed to lead Anglos. But there is no argument over whether or not they're white. Not in white homes, not in white society. Nobody's arguing with that. They got you fooled into thinking that there's an argument. Meanwhile, you should really go look at the statistics of people who are most likely to date and marry outside of their race. If you're going to acknowledge Jewish as a race, you might want to go and check that one out. You might want to go and look that one up. These folk just talk stupid around you. But in reality, when you go look these things up, you find something different. There's not an argument over whether or not they're white people. The argument is, where will they land within the pecking order? You see, that's always been the conflict about Italians. Italians are perfectly fine identifying as white. The thing is, what they wanted to know is, wait a minute, where do we fall within the pecking order? Where do we fall within the hierarchy? This is why it's been so hard to get the Irish and the Scottish on board, because everybody keeps telling them that they're the low man on the totem pole in the hierarchy. That's why it's been so hard to get them to really go hard body like you want them to. Because you keep reminding them, oh, well, there's a hierarchy. And you're trying to get them to respond the way you got Asians to respond, and it's not working. It doesn't work on them quite as easily. It doesn't work on them the same. You got to get them to accept a lower place in the pecking order. And right now, that's what they're doing. They're making the full court press. It's like, okay, everybody's been scared to touch on Jewish society. It's like, okay, it's now or never. We might as well go for it. And these folks are like, wait a minute, we almost achieved our whiteness. We almost achieved our whiteness. Then Candace Owens sits up here and throws a monkey wrench in it. We almost achieved our whiteness. And if we're white, then you have to support Israel the way that you supported Great Britain. What? If you want to know the geopolitics of this, you need to support Israel the way that you support Great Britain and France and all of your other European allies. We need to get the same thing they get. We need to get the same thing they've got. Because that is what it means to be white, everyone. White means privileged. Damn! That's what I'm trying to tell you. White means privileged. This is why they're all fighting to get their white card. This is why they're all fighting to get, in the vernacular of Game of Thrones, legitimized. Everybody is trying to get recognized as white so that they can be legitimized into the white family. No more bastardism. No more being the redheaded stepchild. They want to be indoctrinated and integrated in as part of the white empire with all the benefits and privileges that come along with it. That's what this is about. But for Jewish people, there's no value in being white if you don't have a fallback position because they don't trust white people. Or should I say they don't trust the Anglos. There's no value in being white if the Anglos have the ability to veto your whiteness. That's what Jewish people are saying. Yeah, they want it, but they don't want it if it can be revoked. They want a white card, but they don't want a white card that Mark Dice or Tucker Carlson can come along and invalidate. That's what they don't want. So that's why they keep all these ethnic symbols on them and whatnot, because you have not convinced them that you're not gonna take that white card back once you give it. That was the issue in Germany, in Russia. That was the issue in France. We're worried you're gonna take that white card back. We want you to do for us what you did for the Italians and the Irish. Yeah, y'all had religious issues. You put that to the side for the Irish. You put that to the side for the Greeks. You put that to the side for the Italians. You put that to the side for the Scottish, for the most part. Do you understand the rationale that's going on in Jewish society and the Ben Shapiros and the Daily Wires and the Jeremy Borings? Do you realize what their psychology is here? Wait a minute. You put those religious issues to the side for these other people at the turn of the 20th century. You put that to the side. You let them have whatever religion they wanted to have so long as they were white. We are now looking for you to do that for us. You never came back and told the Italians, the Irish, the Scottish that they were no longer white because of their religion. You finally let that go. We want what you gave them. We want that. So if you all want to know where it really comes from, if you all want to know what the real goal is, if you all want to know what the real strategy is, you can read all the books from the Nation of Islam you want to. I just told you what the real issue and the real goal is. We want to be accepted as white people, but we don't want you to use our religion to reject it. Now, here's the thing I want you to understand about the religious part of it. The religious part of it is not a practice that they're rejecting. Please understand that. It isn't their religious practice that leaves them up for rejection. It's their religious heritage. Understand something. Most Jewish people are secular. In case you all didn't know. I'm breaking news to some people here tonight, but by the way, most Jewish people are secular. Most Jewish people are not religious. They're secular. Breaking news to a bunch of you. The majority of Jewish people are secular. If you don't know what secular means, look it up. Most of them are secular. So this can't be a religious battle as far as my right to practice my religion. So that can't be the issue. It can't be that. And whether it's Mila Kunis or Natalie Portman, well, it can't be an ethnic thing there either. So what is it you're afraid of is going to happen? They are afraid that after they are, quote, accepted into whiteness, that somebody's going to come along later and veto that whiteness on account of their religious heritage, even if they are no longer practicing the religion. That's what they're worried about. That's why when Candace Owens spoke to Rabbi What's-His-Name, he was so adamant that you cannot have an objection to the existence of the state of Israel. You cannot have that. Because that's the fallback position. In case the Anglos decide to go buck wild again, that's the fallback position is Israel. Everybody knows. Everybody knows Israel is the fallback position, but I don't just mean that geographically, I also mean that symbolically. If your whiteness is ever rejected, you have a valid identity other than an honorary Anglo. And if somebody decides to pull a Hitler or something and say, we're going to go, oh, we went back through your files. Yeah, you're not really white. We're rejecting your white card stamp. Yeah, we're rejecting it there. Yeah, you don't get to keep that. They want assurances that that won't happen. I know it's hard for most of you to wrap your heads around that because we are black folk and we are foundational. Why, that's hard. Because we're not, well, Candace and your kind, we're not looking for a seat. We're not trying to get integrated as honorary white people. There's no part of us that is looking to do that. So we're strange to them. They don't know how to deal with us because we're strange to them. Hey, you're not trying to get a white card. You're not trying to get a white card. Well, yeah, that works for us. And they're like, well, y'all over there catching hell. Give me my white card. I'm Jewish, but give me my white card. Give it. And they look at us and we ain't trying to get one. We're not trying to get a white card and everybody else is. No wonder everybody sees us on the outside. They're like, we can't fool with them. There's not a road to whiteness through them black folk over there. So now you understand how that works. You damn right. They got to have this fight and they got to have this now. They are going to settle this question, at least for the time being, over who runs this thing and over where the cultural and lineage epicenter of the world is for whiteness. Where should they look? Should they look toward the geographic, genetic foundation of Europe, or should they look toward the religious, cultural epicenter in Israel. Which one should you choose? Which one will we base this on? Are you going to base whiteness on religion, or are you going to base whiteness on genetics? And after you settle that question, who's going to run it? That's the only thing they're fighting over now. However, you might disagree. Therefore, the telephone lines are now open. And the number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Venmo, Super Chat. Big shout out here to Mr. Rich Bird. Thank you very much, sir. As always, Mark B., Mr. Isaiah Najee, Brenda Starr, and everyone else here. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we'll be taking your phone calls and more. This is The Black Channel.
Hello, my name is Steve Burgess, and I'm the author of this book, Guidelines for the Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-aged child. In this book, I've explained the role of the parent and the student in addition to what accommodations, procedures, rewards and consequences and expectations that need to be in place to ensure student success from primary to high school. This book is available on Amazon.com. For more information, please visit my link tree at Easy One-on-One, and to access my latest podcast, A Teaching Moment with Mr. B. Thank you all for listening.
A white supremacist assassin seeks revenge. Corrupt FBI agents with evil intentions. Dangerous black collaborators dedicated to treason. Occam Jeffers must defeat them all and somehow survive. One misstep and he's a dead man. Join Occam Jeffers as he looks the devil in his blue eyes and tells him, Black First. A sequel to the underground hit War of the Heart, Spirit of 1811 Publishing presents God Love Us, on sale at Amazon. Pre-order and save today. Visit spiritOf1811publishing.com and show your love.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' natural body butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slavery and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is The Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening, and the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. And as always, you are welcome to join us. We're going to get to the telephone lines here momentarily, but before I do that, there is something else I want to touch on here. On second thought, let's not do that. On second thought, let's not do that. Why don't we go ahead and see about addressing this a little bit later? Let's go ahead and get over here to the telephone lines. The telephone number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Let's get caller from area code 941. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, this the deacon just calling about the topic tonight. About old Miss Owens and their AltRight. Yes, sir. And brother, they're gonna have to do something now, because Miss Owens coming back to the community. Yes, sir. She coming back, and now I don't know what the AltRight gonna do. Maybe they can hire Don Lennon. I know he's sweet and sour and sassy, but maybe he'll be a good person for him. Because man, he crying and wheezing and whining about the doggone about the other guy that owned the platform. Yes, sir. But Miss Owens ain't coming back. No, brother. And the one thing I love about Miss Owens is that she's staying focused. She eating soul food, and she gonna make sure her mind and she even going to church tomorrow for Easter. Like I said, man, yes, sir. So they need to go and hire something. Why don't they go get Jesse? Jesse, ain't he LGBT and he hate black people? That brother, yes, sir, the old black man. You know who I'm talking about? Old Jesse. Yes, sir. Yeah, cause now, like I said, man, things are changing, and I'm proud of Miss Owens now. So yes, we got to just make sure that she stay on the right side. And I'm watching everything that she do. I'm her Twitter friend. I'm her I'm on her MySpace page.
I'm your brother. I'm your daddy. Yes, I'm that nigga in the alley. Well, I know what side she needs to be on. The side she needs to be on is outside. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get caller from area code 206. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, good evening. This is Agnes, and I'm calling from Seattle, Washington.
All right, Agnes from Seattle. What's on your mind?
Hi. Excellent broadcast. Excellent analysis of where we're going with white supremacy. It's always been about who's going to keep the power and maintain that power. And they've been doing that, thousands and thousands of years. You called it right with the Daily Mail and how basically they're jockeying for position. And I like the fact that you brought in the truth about Fox is that they put themselves in this double bind, and they're waiting for the Daily Mail to sort itself out. As far as Candace and Tucker, yeah, that's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if in the upcoming couple of weeks or so, you'll hear something about valuetainment and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. That'll probably be a good money-making grift for both of them, because honestly, after the 5th, I think time's going to be up with all of this grifting. And thanks, and B1.
B1, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight here. Let me get a caller from area code 626. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, TBA? This is TBR the Bard, 626 representative calling from Tampa.
All right, brother, what's on your mind?
Okay, so I actually happen to be Afro-Jewish, and the funny part about it is I was in Oregon last year during the fall, and I was living with a Jewish family, and one of the main things about that Jewish family that I was living with is that, yeah, they definitely they refer to other Anglo-Saxons as WASPs, so white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, and they definitely had an issue with the WASP people, despite the fact that, like, all over Oregon, it's WASP, right? And yeah, you know what I mean? They definitely
well, they bring it up as an ethnic thing. That's the thing. They bring it up as an ethnic thing, not a racial thing. There's where black folk usually get, tripped up at. This is not about race. The issue is not about whiteness. The issue is about this ethnic thing, which is rooted in the religious part of it, but it's really an ethnic thing on top of that that is rooted in. So among them, no, there's not that confusion. The folks on the outside are confused, but those people aren't.
Their ethnic hangups in regards to that is definitely it's mired in a superiority complex, and yeah, they're constantly always trying to prove that they're like the best of the Caucasians. And when it comes down to the terminology of anti-Semitics or people who are anti-Semites, they definitely would be the main ones, because the true Semitic people, of course, are the people that speak Semitic languages, the Ethiopians, those from South Sudan. You know what I'm saying? And I have paid attention as well, too, because I grew up in an area of Los Angeles where you stated the so-called Indians or South Asians, where they are always jockeying for a position to be identified as Caucasians, same as, the Euro-Latins, or they call themselves mestizos. I've noticed that Mauritius, around the same time that Egypt won the World Cup last year, and they decided to say we're not African, we're Islamic or whatever, you know what I'm saying, trying to identify with the Arabs. The same thing occurred with Mauritius this year, which is like inhabited by a lot of South Asians, so-called Indians, and they are trying to separate themselves from Africa and instead claim that they're European. So, yeah, you definitely have been hitting a lot of stuff on the nail tonight. I appreciate this broadcast, and, keep on spreading the truth, man. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. In the chat room, for those of you talking about the census, I'm probably going to touch on that tomorrow, because I think there's a lot of confusion about what that actually means and what it actually alludes to. I think there's a lot of confusion and a lot of assumptions being made. And that's kind of important to make sure that's not the case. Let me get caller from area code 617. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Shell from Boston.
Hi, Shell from Boston. What's on your mind?
Hi, I think there's a couple of different issues that play here. One, Candace Owens was a tool, but I also think that she's stepping out of bounds, because I think that when you look at the world's economy, they say that Russia is aligning with India because India is buying up most of Israel, and so that if the U.S. pulls out of its alliance with Israel, then Russia will get more of because they're with India, they'll grow with India. So I think that it's almost it's kind of a bigger issue. Could that possibly be part of this?
No, that whole explanation you gave, no. Israel's not giving up anything, so no, not really sure where that came from.
I thought India was buying up part of Israel. No.
Okay. Don't mistake foreign investment for being ownership. The Israeli Constitution does not allow divesting itself of its land. So, no, man, it's no. You can go read the Israeli Constitution, you all. Just go read that. Ben Gurion, Golda Meir. Go read it for yourselves, and what you can see is, oh no, this is a permanent claim to the land. This is a permanent claim to the land. Let me get caller from area code 847. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Last try, caller from area code 847. You're on live.
Hello.
Yes, put the crack pipe down. You are on. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Jason. I'm Letty from Chicago. How are you
Letty
tonight?
from Chicago. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to ask, do you feel or do you think that Candace Owens can get like a pardon from Black people who used to listen to her? If she, by going on the different shows she's been on lately on YouTube, do you think she's, can be forgiven for all of the things that she said about Black people, and some of us can start listening to her? Or what do you think about that?
Okay, first of all, the short answer is no. It's not going to happen. Her tail is just too long. She's done too much for too long, over too many years. You can go hide off in these safe places, but you can't hide yourself from the cacophony of people saying, hey, ain't that coon chick? So that's the issue that they have. That's the issue that they have to deal with. So that's not going to occur. Not now, not ever. What she'll try to do is hide in some safe spaces, but then again, that's what she's been doing the whole time. That's that Fox News thing. Going in front of friendly microphones and people who already believe what you say and they're already on board with you. So no. Getting black society as a group back on board with her, no. Well, Jason, what if she stalls for time? There's not enough time in the world for that. But Jason, what if Candace Owens turns over a new leaf? Well, that one's not gonna work either. Why do I say that? Because what I pointed out at the beginning of the program, white supremacy is where the money is. Remember, Candace Owens was filing lawsuits against folks. Oh, you discriminated against me for being black. She goes where the bag is. And that's what folk been calling her out for, by the way, as well as the quartering. The quartering made sure to remind people about that lawsuit she did. He was quick to remind them. So they know what the hell they're dealing with. They know that she's just a useful tool. They know she's not a true believer because she can't be a true believer. They know she isn't because she can't be. But what she is useful. She's useful because it gives them a black face to say the racist stuff that they want to say. So they can quote her or say, well, I didn't say it, she did, but you know, she do got a point though. I didn't say it, she did, but you know what? Now that a black person did say it, I agree with this black person over here. So that's their purpose for existing. So she isn't going to get as big of a bag among us as she going to get with them. You can't look, you cannot compare what Fresh and Fit gets with what Mark Dice and Matt Walsh and Steven Crowder and Candace Owens through the Daily Wire get. You can't compare the two. One is thousands, the other is millions. So you can't compare those two. So she's not going to step down from that kind of bag. If she attempts to come over here on our side, she going to lose that. If she attempts to turn over a new leaf, her paymasters in white society are going to turn the spigot off. So that's why she can't. What she was doing was she understood they were getting ready to let her go. I can't really say fire her necessarily, but they were getting ready to let her go. And she knew it was coming. So that's why she started going around talking to other outlets and trying to get her face in other places. It was very nakedly obvious. She had gotten the heads up that your days here are numbered. So with that being the case, she was just trying to get her name out there. But don't believe any of that head faking she was doing. The Breakfast Club, those are head fakes. She was trying to get her a little bit more promotion before she got the boot. Now she's gotten the boot. I'm not looking for her to really double back to those places necessarily. She wants to find a white outlet to marry herself to. That's what she's looking for now. And she's going to have to get back to the same old stuff she was talking. She can't double back on that. They'll cut her off financially. And I'm not saying that she would be broke or a pauper, but what I'm saying is she would definitely take a precipitous cut in pay. And she got into this for the money. Candace Owens is not a true believer in any of this stuff. Now, there's the biggest lie that anybody could get. Candace Owens does not have allegiance to white supremacy. Candace Owens has allegiance to Candace Owens. And whoever is paying the most, that's who she's got her allegiance to. Just as soon as she started losing her in at the Daily Wire, all of a sudden she found black folk. She's letting you know, whoever got my back, whoever gonna support me, that's where I'm going. As long as they're paying more, that's where she's gonna be. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get a call from area code 571. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Shapiro. I'm calling from Arlington, Virginia.
Okay, Shapiro from Arlington, Virginia. What's on your mind?
Well, first of all, Jason, later for Candace Owens, later for the Anglos, and later for the Jews. What I want to know is, where is the cultural and ethnic epicenter of black society? And if it's black Americans, what do we need to do to develop and maintain our leadership?
Okay, well, for us, and this is actually a very fortunate thing. You see, you've got real power when you are the nation. That's the concept I want folks to understand. You've got real power when you are the nation. Because that is what white supremacy developed into. When you see a white man walking around overseas, that is the white society with him. There's a reason why if you take a white man hostage, they are coming to get you. Because it has to be impressed on you that when you see a white person White society is standing in front of you. You're not looking at a man. You are looking at a movement. You're looking at a nation. White society is standing there. They're standing there. And that's the thing that they need to impress on you. I want us to be a people who are a elite culture. A culture is not a geographic location. A culture is a practice endemic to a people. So that anywhere and everywhere our feet touch ground, we bring that with us. When your cultural lineage and heritage becomes mobile, then when you ask me, where is the cultural epicenter for black people, black folk from America? That's an easy question to answer. Planet Earth. That's an easy question for me to answer. Where is the geographic location of black people's cultural, ethnic, religious epicenter? That's easy. The geographical location is Earth. If you are standing on this big blue mud ball, you standing on our cultural epicenter right there. So it ain't hard to find. Caller from area code 267, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, this is Timmy. I'm calling from Williamsport, PA. How are you?
All right, Timmy, what's on your mind?
Yes. I try not to get into debate with situation, especially with this situation with Candace Owens. I know that she is just a plant, and I noticed there's quite a few black people who think that she's going to come to black society and lead or whatever. I don't know what they're thinking. First of all, her and Ben Shapiro, she knew Ben Shapiro was a Zionist when she signed up. She knew that he was a white supremacist when she signed up. So for her to speak against Israel, I mean, it was coming. These people, these so-called Jews, first of all, they're not even biblical Jews. They are Khazars who, just like any other white supremacists want to take over land. The real biblical Jews were dark skinned. And so now she comes around, and I'm not sure why she decided to speak against them, but she already knew. And I tell people not to get into this trick bag because it's a distraction. And if you start following these people, they're just going to mislead you. That we should just focus on the thing that's most important to us. And all these people work together. In the end of the day, when all this stuff is done, they're all going to come back together and come against us. And so what I would tell black people, black society, Candace Owens and people like her, Ben Shapiro, I don't care if he's a Jew, this fake Jew, whatever the hell he is, don't follow them, period. Don't give them any type of time of day of your precious time. They're all the same. That's it.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Candace Owens, I don't know what she believed or thought about, the religious partisanship of the Daily Wire's founders. But I do think that Candace Owens saw herself as an honorary white girl. She thought she was an honorary white girl. And when she was talking to Ben Shapiro and friends, she saw herself as their equal, and they let her know, you ain't nowhere close to our equal. She also was relying on the silly naivete of, well, these people are free speech advocates. So we all believe in free speech, so they're going to be free speech advocates. In other words, they're going to have my back, and that's not at all what happened. Not at all what happened. So trust me, she was surprised on that part because she thought that being the only black girl in the room, how could they ever turn on her? And now she wants to scream racism, but she can't. Ain't that a messed up situation? She wants to scream racism because they even pointed out, by the way, we didn't kick Matt Walsh out. She wants to scream racism, but she can't. But she can't. She's in a bad little spot there, man. Let me get caller from area code 321. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason, this is Antoine from Orlando. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. It's funny you say that because I've been thinking this whole time that, there's different fractions that the Jewish white supremacists have been trying to fight for control. And it looks like, you said, it's been for a long time. If you listen to, the guy with the mustache, he kind of alludes to that. Did you ever listen to him? Another thing, I watch a lot of white supremacists Twitter and what they're saying, and they're basically saying what you're talking about. But here's a new one. I want to know if you agree or you think it's just nonsense. That time, that boat that hit the bridge the day before, I think the U.S. was staying for Israel or something like that at the UN. So some of them think that Mossad or Israel had hacked into that ship and hit it to get the U.S. on board with Israel.
Okay, well, if knocking down a bridge in Baltimore is intended to get something on your get a nation on your side as opposed to get them to bomb you to the Stone Ages, you've got the most ridiculous strategist in the history of man. So yeah, that actually usually has the opposite effect. No, actually, I was studying that the whole time. I was watching it the whole time. Boy, I've gotten more information from more. I didn't know there were so many shipping channels on YouTube. I had no idea. These guys were on top of that as soon as it happened. They were on top of that with AIS or ASI, and they got programs that are able to see where the ships are and which way they went. They did that night. I think it's a very interesting thing. What happened was the ship lost power. It was coming there about 4 minutes before it hit the pylons. It lost power. They took the videos back from the docks. 4 minutes beforehand, it loses power. Then the power comes back on. The backup generator apparently comes on. By that time, it's too late to get there. Also, there were only like 8 people on the bridge at the time. If you're going to do something like that, you wouldn't do it at 1 o'clock in the morning. You would do it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, wouldn't you?
True. I thought it was nonsense, but I just wanted to run it by you. But
yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, look, people are. I appreciate everybody being skeptical. You're dealing with the most devious government on the planet. They certainly have had a number of black ops. So absolutely, you would be a fool if you were not skeptical of the United States government. You'd be an idiot if you weren't. So no, I don't have a problem with people questioning these things. Is it possible we could look up at some point in the future and find something out? Sure. But even if it turns out that, Jason, this is 100% terrorism, these are the dumbest terrorists on the planet. So you didn't do this. You didn't do this in the middle of the day when there could have been a body count in the dozens, if not hundreds. You do this at 1 a.m? Just what kind of strategy we doing here? What are we doing? So that's the reason why I would find that very, very difficult to believe. But I do not blame you all for being skeptical. Remain skeptical. Do not become irrational, but certainly remain skeptical. Absolutely. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. No, remain skeptical. Now, don't sit up here and say, okay, once you've got the facts, look, everything is not terrorism. Everything is not a conspiracy. Some things are. Some things are. Now, it doesn't mean that everything's a conspiracy. Very true, but some things are. But just because some things are a conspiracy doesn't mean everything is. But, oh no, some things are. Some things are. But just do the math here. Remember 9/11. That happened in the middle of the day, middle of the morning, and which was actually rush hour for airplanes. So they did that when they could get the highest body count. That makes sense. Not a great person to do it, but that makes sense. This right here, no, just bad maintenance or whatever in the world's going on there. That's a more likely explanation. Call from area code 404. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, Jason? My name is AT from Atlanta by way of Lagos.
AT from Atlanta. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I think Candace Owens, she knew what it was when she signed up and got her, what you like to say, the Negro wake-up call. But my question is, we as foundationals Black Americans, what can we do to get our Black legal class up and moving? I feel like we need a Black legal army for when white supremacy comes messing with just the regular FBA person, because reparations, we're going to need a Black legal class to kind of push that fight. There's hate crime that we're going to need a strong legal class to push that. And then I'm currently in the process of moving to the South Carolina coast, and you can't tell me that there's some land that was stolen from FBA to go digging through deeds and all that. So we need some lawyers that are up and moving and with the movement that can go through those records and start looking and diving into some of those deeds in the libraries and courthouses where those things are kept, and start noticing like, hey, this land was stolen. Deeds was fondled with and misrepresented. And
I mean, absolutely. I mean, look, y'all, there's some brutal realities that people are going to have to accept here, okay? A decade ago, I was talking about the lack of a competent legal class in Black society over a decade ago. I ain't pulled no punches about it. I'm not pulling any punches today. We don't have a Black legal class. We don't have one. The Black legal class you could have had, the white corporations either hired them or them Negroes are sitting up here riding the cocktail circuit. But as far as a competent, viable Black legal class, hell, as far as an incompetent one, we don't even have that because they're not active. They don't do anything. The so-called Black lawyers of America, they're basically the boule without the fraternity. That's basically what they are. They've kind of set themselves up to say, oh, I'm a big shot because I'm a lawyer, and most of them are starving. So our Black legal class, we don't have one. Now, you can like these apples. Jewish society understood that. Say whatever in the hell you want to. Jewish society understood. They did a thorough dissection of the ways in which they were targeted in Nazi Germany. And the first thing that they said is, we need more Jewish lawyers. We could have stopped a lot of this if we had been the lawyers and the judges. We could have stopped a lot of this. And they were right. In reality, the Holocaust could have been stopped if Adolf Hitler had been locked up for life after the beer hall push. For those of you who don't know your Nazi German history, and no, I'm not afraid of YouTube suppressing my channel by talking about Nazi Germany. Go for it. In any case, after the beer hall push, Adolf Hitler and his merry band of Nazis should have been locked up for the rest of their lives. They had been problematic troublemakers and obvious insurrectionists since the Weimar Republic. They were very well known. They were very well known. After World War I, that group of radicals and revolutionaries, everybody knew about them. And they were allowed to roam the streets. They were allowed to have these little uprisings, these little riots. They were allowed to keep doing it until finally they became the government. Now, if the judges had locked them up for life when they had first started doing that, when they first got arrested, instead of arresting them and then letting them go, then the Holocaust actually does not occur. Now, that's the truth. That is not conjecture. Jewish society understands this. They understand that. They understand that if that situation had been handled differently, if they had more influence within that court system, those guys never would have been able to get done what they did. Never would have happened. So when they finally did have a chance to breathe, first order of business is, we need more Jewish lawyers, and they sent their kids to school for law degrees. Now, granted, in a lot of cases, this is before the bar was actually a requirement. As you all know, the bar didn't really become a requirement till black folk wanted to start getting law licenses. Then all of a sudden, oh, here comes the bar exam. But for Jewish folk, for the most part, they started flooding in before the bar was really a requirement. Now, it's a requirement today, don't get me wrong, but now they have a culture of it. because there was ease of access for them, there is now a culture of getting law credentials. Ain't that right, Ben Shapiro? So that's part of the culture now because they understand that. They are interested in the mechanisms of the law being weaponized against them. And they've got a large battalion of legal operatives. And that is smart for an oppressed people. That is logical for an oppressed people. Now, black people have had obstacles put in our way, and I understand that. But I will tell you one damn thing. You go over there to Atlanta, Georgia, the last damn thing they trying to do is progress black people. Ain't that right, Fannie the Mammy Willis? There's a bunch of lawyers over there in Atlanta. They have their damn get-together over there every year. And meanwhile, ain't a damn thing being done for us. Not a thing.
True.
They looking out for themselves. They want to be on the cocktail circuit. They want to sit up here and go to City Hall. They want to run for office. Ain't it a damn thing? White folk run for office after they locked up 30 or 50 niggas. After they find a kingpin, we lock them up, then they run for office. Black folk want to sit up here and style and profile. And that's what our legal class has become. We don't have one. We don't have one. You knew that we were in trouble when we no longer had a legal class to stand up for us pro bono. There's not a Jewish person in America who needs legal representation who cannot get it. Their people will make sure they get it. You're not going to gentrify them, steal their house, steal their land. I don't care if it's a Jew all the way out in Montana. He's going to get legal representation. His people going to make sure he's good. Black folk getting their stuff taken all over the damn place. Don't tell me a damn word about an HBCU. Jewish people have gotten more benefit out of Brandeis than we have received from all the so-called HBCUs because they're on code. They learned the lessons of the Holocaust.
You're right.
There's a reason why they're the ones in the music business giving us the crooked contracts and we sitting up here being the ones having to take them. They've looked out for theirs, and I don't have a problem with that. We got folk over here trying to figure out how to take photo ops with the president and anything else. That's the issue that we have. We've been told that a law degree is something that you use to go pick up chicks. That's what we've been told.
We need that. We need that legal army, man. We need it. And the template is already out there. Native Americans, they got there. The Japanese Americans got there. You did the story about the Native American guy that's trying to get that his nation recognized federally. I mean, the template is out there already. We just need an army to pick up the ball and run with it. And I don't feel like we have that in our society.
No, it's not you don't feel like we have it. We don't have it. We don't have it. We have the folks, Johnny Cochran, Shreveport born and bred. Hey, Johnny Cochran was one man. Johnny Cochran did not represent what we had in the 1960s. Johnny Cochran does not represent what we had in the 1950s and the 1960s. Brown versus Board of Education, we had a squad of competent black lawyers. That's why we got things done and kept getting in front of the Supreme Court. We had a squad of competent black lawyers. By the time you get to Johnny Cochran, there's not a squad anymore. There's just him. Just him trying to create a law firm that can do something, but it was just him. That was it. That was it. And what I'm saying is that what happens then is you have a court system that can come after you, and there ain't nobody there to defend your interests. If you treat Jewish people unfairly, there's a lawyer somewhere who's ready to come at you. If you don't treat a Jewish person respectfully at your business, there's a lawyer ready to get down on you. Free of charge. He ain't charging nothing. Let me tell y'all something. You want to know why Jewish people are 6% of the population, but ain't got no problems in New York? It's got very little to do with heritage and much more to do with degrees. They like, hey, if you're going to take us down again, you're going to have to fight for that. Jewish people understood that to become the judges, you got to become the lawyers. Their goal was not to get a law degree. Their goal was to get on the bench, which basically you can legislate from the bench. So on the one hand, you can't really get at them on the street because they got protection. And if you go to court, you're going to end up, in many cases, you'll end up in front of a Jewish judge who used to be a Jewish lawyer. So there's one thing that they know for certain as Jewish people in New York: they ain't going to get railroaded. If they get found guilty, they really did it. But they're not going to get railroaded. And you're not going to use your laws or regulations to deprive them of money. You're not going to they ain't going to let you get away with that. You're not going to pull that fast one. Like they do the black folk, pull their funding. You can't do that with them. Because if you try it, here's another thing. You got plenty of Jewish lawyers who are certified to go fight your ass in federal court. We don't have not one competent black lawyer in America who is qualified to go to federal court, and that includes Ketanji Brown Jackson. That heifer was not qualified to have a damn brief in front of a federal court anywhere. She's on the Supreme Court now, bumbling and stumbling and fumbling through their rulings. She is the definition of summarily incompetent. But then again, she's just there to be Joe Biden's bedwench and rubber stamp. Meanwhile, out here on the damn streets, where there's not supposed to be no damn asset forfeiture. We're not supposed to have any asset forfeiture. That thing so clearly only targets us as black people. If it was Jewish people, the ADL and AIPAC and the rest of them would have already gotten together and shut that down. Simply on the grounds that it goes after Jewish people. They would have been shut that down. We sitting out here today, the illegals can drive without insurance and their cars don't get impounded, but black folks still getting their cars impounded for having no insurance. You're supposed to have a legal class that says, hey, no. No. That ain't gonna fly. That's what you're supposed to have. When you have a legal class, that bypasses legislation. The court system bypasses legislation.
I was doing some research about Myrtle Beach and waterfront property, and back in the days, from what I can understand, waterfront property was undesirable land, and that's where they put all the black people. Today, you can't find a black person by waterfront property. So how do you know why that is? Property transfer from black people to white people.
Do you know why that is?
It was stolen.
Okay, but I'm saying, do you know why waterfront property was not desirable up until about
because they couldn't farm.
Up until about 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah, they couldn't farm. They couldn't do anything about it. They couldn't develop all that stuff.
Wrong.
Okay.
Nope. Y'all about to learn a few things here tonight. And by the way, my people who work for the Army Corps of Engineers already know this. The so-called beachfront and eastern seaboard of the United States of America should not be there. It should have already been swallowed up by the ocean at least about 3-4 decades ago. And in the places where they don't do dredging, those places have already been taken under. Now, the United States has a program that they use. There is a federal program. Once every 10 to 20 years, they send out these machines to go and suck the sand off of the beachfront and put it back on the beaches again. But that program is based upon tourism. It's based upon tourism. So if you're in a state where tourism is popular, like Florida, South Carolina, Virginia, if you're in one of those areas, then you get federal funds to do that. And every 10 to 20 years, they send the machines out to come and suck the sand. And it usually actually sucks up a bunch of, the coral reef. So it's actually not, that's why you go to these places like Clearwater that's got that white sand, but it's real hard. Well, the reason for that is because it's not all sand. It's just this sludge that they dredge back up from the right outside of the beach on the coast there. They just dredge it back up and then suck it back on the beachfront.
No, but I was talking like maybe further back, like post-slavery, where.
Well, no, I'm explaining
put,
to you. No, I'm explaining it to you of why it is that didn't happen. Now, by the way, they call it, renourishment or anything else. That's the technical name for it is renourishment, but sounds like a nice name, but in reality, it's not what it is. It's restoring the beach so that it doesn't wash away completely, because otherwise the ocean would have washed it away a long time ago. It would have washed it away a long time ago. All of them, folks, California included, but especially the East Coast because of the oceans. The whole East Coast should have already been swallowed up by now as far as the beachfront. The beach should be a lot further inland than it is. So when you're talking about when black folk used to be on the beachfront in California, Bruce's Beach, how you doing? In Wilmington, North Carolina, Virginia Beach, Charlotte, Charleston. We can go down the list, the whole damn thing. Well, why were they there? Because at the time there was no ability to be able to renourish the beaches. There was no means to be able to do that. In the chat room, Intel Inside, you got it. Intel Inside, you got it. Thank you very much. Intel Inside, you nailed it. Reclamation. Now, in reality, that's the real word that the federal government uses for the program that restores the beaches every 10 to 20 years. Reclamation, reclaiming. And so they send out these big vacuum machines on the beach, and folks who've worked folks who worked as maritime and whatnot, they've seen that. People who worked in the Army Corps of Engineers, you've seen that. They do this in other countries too, by the way. America is not alone, but this is something that could not be done before the middle of the 20th century. There wasn't the equipment, there wasn't the technology, there wasn't the means to do it before the midway through the 20th century. You didn't have machines that could do it. Now you do. Once reclamation became a viable alternative, that's when the niggas got pushed off the beaches. When they found a way to be able to get the beach to stop sucking up all the land and taking it all under, at least now when hurricanes come through, that's a different matter. And you're always dealing with the issue that the soil, the sand there is always shifting deep under the ground because it's not dirt. It doesn't have anything to hold it in place. So yes, beachfront is always going to be tricky territory, but they found a way to slow it down. They've at least found a way to slow it. And reclamation is the means by which they do that. Black folk were there when there wasn't a means to do it, so all you had to do, whatever land you sold them on the beachfront, in 20 years, it'll be gone. That's what they knew. Okay, sell the black folk all the beachfront stuff in 20 years, it'll be gone. Soon as they figured out a way to stop the beaches from getting washed away, get them niggas out of here, development, Disney World, Daytona Beach, we can go down the list, the richest places in America. Yeah, as soon as they figured out a way to stop that from happening. Technological advancement has always been weaponized against us. And that's why you need a legal class who makes sure that technological advancement is used to our benefit and can't just always be weaponized against us. That's the problem.
To our detriment, you're right.
But I'm not optimistic. I mean, look, up until now, we've been sitting up here shucking and jiving and playing and sitting up here having people post up all these damn stupid ass pictures online of a whole damn squadron of black women standing in rows talking about, oh, look at all these black judges. And then 5 years later, what the hell did they did for us? Not a damn thing. Not one thing that was happening to us before has been stopped or interrupted since. But I got to lay this at the feet of the grassroots, brother. I got to lay it at the feet. But then again, these so-called black judges come from the damn grassroots. Y'all, here's what's going to have to happen. If we're going to have that occur, we going to have to fund it ourselves. Now, I'm talking about the folks sitting here. We going to have to find some young black kids who are coming out of high school. We can't even wait till college. We got to grab their little asses out of high school, and we got to fund that ourselves. We got to get them to give a letter of intent. We got to fund that ourselves. It ain't gonna happen. The old niggas ain't gonna do it. They're okay with an ever-eroding list of rights and privileges. They all right with that. They're waiting for a peaceful death. And the so-called bourgeoisie has told themselves that they got enough money, then they're exempt from the law. How'd that work out, Diddy? Damn! So that's what we end up with there. So I'm just letting y'all know right now, we can't depend on the damn HBCUs. The HBCUs are not creating a battalion of lawyers. You would figure, if nothing else, we got law schools at some of these HBCUs. You would figure, if nothing else, the HBCUs could at least give us a battalion of civil rights lawyers. You would figure that at least. And they're not even doing that. Howard is a damn joke. Right. They're not even doing that.
Xavier.
Look, let me tell you something. Right. Every time you go by Howard University after spring break, all you see is a bunch of niggas and hoes dancing and shaking their asses. Let's call it for what it is. They ain't doing nothing. They waiting for the damn next university block party. They ain't doing nothing. DC, I know what the hell I'm talking about. I did a whole documentary about it. I ain't lying. I did a whole damn documentary about it. That's footage that didn't make it into Gentrified, not because I didn't see it. I got footage of them sitting up there doing that at Howard. Don't tell me about a medical school, a legal school, or nothing else. I've seen them doing it. Middle of the day on a Saturday. Seen them doing it. These folks ain't worried. Ben Shapiro, if he goes by Howard University, he's like, oh, ain't nothing to worry about here. No threat here. And meanwhile, take a look at us. There's a personal injury lawyer everywhere you damn well look. Okay, but a personal injury lawyer is not effective at getting wealth for the masses. A civil rights attorney who is actually doing the damn work would get that done. There is no reason in the world that my channel should be suppressed and the Paul Brothers channel should be banging on YouTube. There's no reason that the new black media should be suppressed, but Mark Dice and Matt Walsh can get hundreds of thousands and millions of views unimpeded. Matt Walsh showing up on my damn timeline. I'm making programs banging on him, and yet he's showing up on my timeline. There's no reason that that should be occurring. And I'm not even saying that those guys shouldn't be getting 100,000, hundreds of thousands of views or whatever. What I'm saying is that obviously you're not suppressing them. And if these companies are doing that, they're supposed to be paying out hundreds of millions of dollars to us. The reason we don't have reparations is because if you had a legal class, they can bypass legislation. You'd already have that on the books. Because you'd be dealing with that in court already. You'd already have it. But we don't. Because the black legal class wants to shake its ass and get on YouTube and brag about having credentials and can't name 3 black folk they helped get anything. Can't name a damn thing. No, brother, the black legal class is useless. I'm gonna say something y'all ain't gonna like here in just a damn moment. But it's true. They didn't just become useless overnight. They've been useless since after Thurgood Marshall went to the Supreme Court. He left, he was gone, we didn't have nothing else to replace him, and we haven't had it since. All you got is a bunch of raggedy-ass fraternity brothers and sorority hoes sitting up here bragging on their legal credentials. Meanwhile, you got a soror sitting in the vice president's office and ain't lifted a damn finger. All this damn time. What good are her legal credentials? Tell me what good they are. Fannie the Mammy Willis is trying to get her a higher position, as opposed to a position of being up under niggas. Damn! She's sitting up here. You have a... Shut up. You have a district attorney there who is sitting up here and she breaking the damn... She's committing adultery and every damn thing else. She done stole another woman's husband and talking about, I don't see what I did wrong. I ain't did nothing wrong. Literally stole a woman's husband. Is standing in court with this man now and talking about, I don't see what the problem is. So let me get this straight. The white cops who killed that man in the drive-thru, you let them off. Young Thug, though, here, you need to hold this life sentence. You need to hold this life sentence. That's what the hell your black legal class is doing. They are so obviously trying to climb the legal ladder and get a higher position in society, but they ain't trying to do nothing for us. Hell, in many cases, they are detrimental to us. Get them together as a group, and all they sit there and do is sit up here and talk about champagne. No, I'm being nice. Damn being nice. We gonna make it raw. Let me tell y'all something. In Atlanta, the black males of the legal community, the only thing they talk about when they get together in a damn group is the women or the men that they've been laying up with. Yeah, I said it.
And deal with it, nigga.
That's the only thing they are good for and the only thing they get together on. That's why if you find a black male lawyer in Atlanta, that nigga got veneers. Yeah, I'm talking about you, fella. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Yes, I am. You go to Atlanta, that's why you can't get nothing real and substantive done. If you've been hit by a bus, you can get something done. If the police just beat your ass, good luck, nigga. That's what that is. If they're trying to take your property, oh well, that's your ass. They gentrifying you, moving you out, so what? You've been discriminated against on the job, tell it to the governor. That's what it is there. And I'm just naming Atlanta as one example. It's the same thing in Chicago, it's the same thing in New York, it's the same thing in DC, same thing in New Orleans, same thing in Dallas, same thing in Houston. Dead ass useless. They are useless. Black folk today, to get their civil rights protected, gotta hire a white lawyer. That's the damn problem. Dude, I got one. Y'all want me to lie to you?
Ain't that something?
Y'all want me to lie? I got one. You want me to keep it all the way real with you? If you want me to keep it all the way raw with you, yes, I've got 3 lawyers. One of them's Jewish. You damn right. Guess what? His secretary answers the phone every time I call. Haven't had an issue there. Let me tell you, he's never been afraid to speak up for black folk. In front of me, in court, he's never been afraid to do that. The black attorneys, kind of hit or miss. Kind of hit or miss. So they get their law credentials, try to distance themselves from black folk, not to try to reinforce it and to bolster it. That ain't what they trying to do. They too busy trying to find a cocktail circuit or a club to go to or some place they can floss their credentials. And I can't give them no place to floss their credentials. So, see what we can get with you.
Yeah, let me tell you something, and I'll land my plane. I had an issue coming from Georgia to South Carolina with Highway Patrol, with the gun and the reciprocity, whatever, got pulled over. Like you mentioned before in South Carolina, they pretty much turned my car over, found my heater. I called a lawyer, a black lawyer. He told me he don't take them kind of cases. I had to hire a white lawyer.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, dude. He said criminal defense on his website.
Yeah, you're like, hey, don't say criminal defense here. I've had a criminal claim made against me. You don't defend criminal charges? Well, I don't defend them crime. Really?
But yeah. We need a black legal class. I'll land my plane there.
Well, you need it. You ain't got it, but yeah, we damn sure need it. We damn sure. Look, I ain't saying nothing that everybody don't already know. I ain't saying nothing everybody doesn't already know. Jewish society got their legal game on lock. They got the legal game on lock so much they can help everybody else. They can service everybody else. And it's not that we don't have enough black folk who go to law school. It's that they go to law school hoping they can come out and party and bull jive. Everybody's trying to figure out how to get rich at being a lawyer. They're not trying to figure out how to change the damn world. They're not trying to make sure they figure out how to make sure that they have a whole class of black folk around them who are in a position to be able to support them. They want to go out, meet some rich folk, meet some politicians, sleep with somebody's wife or somebody's husband. Ain't that right, Fannie Willis? I mean, look, y'all, think about this for a few moments. Not one, but 2. Do you all understand that? Not 1, but 2 lawyers in Atlanta that you all can name right now? Fannie Willis and her dude, both of them lawyers. Do you understand that? Fannie Willis and her dude are both lawyers. If you think I'm lying about what I just said. Fannie Willis, who remembers she was sleeping with DJ Scrap Dirty or whatever his name is. It's been a few weeks since we did the story. Remember? Remember she was dating DJ Deacon or whatever his name was? That's your black legal class. I'm not exaggerating. Her daddy got on the stand and said that. Her daddy got on the stand and said, oh yeah, she was dating some DJ. I don't know what his name. I don't know who he was. That is damn me embarrassing for us as a group, man. So let me get this straight. Yeah, Deuce. DJ Deuce. So let me get this straight. A house party DJ can lay up with the district attorney of Atlanta? What? And you telling me she getting work done? On what planet? On what planet is that? What planet is that happening on? Oh yeah, I didn't mean to throw DJ Scrap Dirty now. I knew it was a D somewhere, so DJ Scrap Dirty, don't come for me. Don't come for me. I was groping for the name. So DJ Scrap Dirty, don't come for me. No shots fired here. No shots fired. I'm not trying to besmirch Scrap Dirty's name. So Scrap Dirty, if you hear this, don't come for me. I'm not. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want the smoke. But that's your legal class in Atlanta. In a nutshell, you saw two black lawyers and all they worried about is who they can lay up with. That's their primary concern. And then you wonder why it is you talking about a black Mecca and you don't own nothing. And then you wonder why the George Zimmermans and the Ben Shapiros and the rest of them are emboldened. Our black legal class is useless across the board. Useless. Am I going to say this? I'm going to say it right now. I cannot name for you even one black lawyer that I have any respect for. What? No, sir, I'm saying it right here in front of every damn body. No, I cannot name even one living black lawyer today that I have any respect for. None. Damn. I've seen all you niggas, and you don't get nothing done. You're not trying to. All you doing is trying to flex your credentials till the day they come get you. We gonna have to level with this, y'all. We got to level with it. No, not him. Johnny Cochran was the last. I'm just calling it for what it is. And y'all know I'm telling the damn truth. If there was really an on-point black lawyer out here, y'all be boosting him. There isn't one. No, I'm talking about in all of these United States of America. You ain't gonna be able to name one. Not even one. That's right, Cameron Fairchild, from Mosby to Letitia James to Ketanji Brown Jack, all of them. No, the black legal class is trash. The black legal class is trash. They've had decades to deliver and ain't doing a damn thing today, so we're having to rely on white and Jewish lawyers to address white supremacy. That's a recipe for disaster. So I'm just letting y'all know, we're going to have to start with the next generation. And some of us are going to have to like start sponsoring scholarships and do like they do for these damn college athletes and have these folks sign some letters, these kids sign some letters of intent. We're going to have to do that. Some of us are going to have to put together some scholarships of our own, and it's going to be about a decade before anything shows up. By the way, it's going to be about a decade before anything bears fruit, but I guess we better get started. Because we've been just left out to dry. Call from area code 301. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, I'm Nicole calling from Landover.
Okay, Nicole from Landover where?
Landover, Maryland. I'm sorry.
All right, Nicole
sorry.
from Landover, Maryland. What's on your mind?
Yes, I was just going to elaborate on the point about that you mentioned Thurgood Marshall. I think that white people, they saw Thurgood Marshall win that case, and they were like, yeah, we can't have him out here on, playing for black people. We got to get him, give him this job, let him sit on this bench, let him sit on the bench, for, till he dies, and that'll be it. To your point about Ketanji Brown, she's not going to do anything because she sleeps with white supremacy every night. So she's not going to be, fighting from the bench to do anything. So I just want to say that it was very, I know that Thurgood Marshall, he's, we got an airport, in Baltimore, for him. But I just feel like to a high degree, he just kind of let us down. I mean, granted, this all happened before I was born, but at the same point,
well,
once he got on the bench,
Thurgood did not let us down, because you have to understand. Okay. Thurgood didn't let us down. The folks after him let us down. We're supposed to be able to send, and I'm not all a supporter of Thurgood Marshall. Let me be very, very clear. I don't lionize Thurgood Marshall. I've got plenty of critiques and criticisms of Thurgood Marshall. Let me be very, very clear about that. But as an objective historical footnote, we should have had 50 Thurgood Marshalls. You should be able to send him to the Supreme Court, and somebody else should have picked up right after that saying, okay, Brown versus Board of Education, now let's go after housing. Let's go after housing. Let's go after banking. Should have had a phalanx of lawyers behind Dr. King. You should have been able to send 10 Thurgood Marshalls to the Supreme Court and still have plenty left over to work for us on these streets. So the problem is when you got just one. That's the problem. And it's not bad that Thurgood went to the Supreme Court, because understand the rationale. As a lawyer, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get to the Supreme Court. I talked about this last night, but I'll reiterate. Every lawyer is trying to get to the Supreme Court. So that's understandable. That's the pinnacle of your career. Got it. Well, he should be on the mission for black folk. Well, yeah, he was on the mission for black folk, because you're trying to get cases in front of the Supreme Court. But remember, if you are a Supreme Court justice, you got the ability to accept cases for the Supreme Court. Remember that. So for those of you who didn't know, that's the way that works. So him on the Supreme Court is like, okay, now black folk got a man inside the Supreme Court. So it's not going, we don't have to be, it's not going to be an issue where we're quite as concerned about getting a brief in front of the Supreme Court. So in that regard, that was actually very useful. So, okay, send Thurgood to the Supreme Court, but you just want to have Tim Moe behind him to replace him. How the hell we end up with just one? And everybody else bull jiving. How the hell you end up with just one? We're never supposed to be dependent on just one person, because nobody else out there is dependent on just one. Nobody. Right. Asian society, white society, Jewish society, Latino society, nobody is out there dependent on just one. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I was just going to say, in your opinion, again, I don't want to besmirch the work that Thurgood Marshall did, but I do feel like, I guess he could have done more. In your opinion, what do you think he could have done to kind of set a precedent for, lawyers coming after him or inspire or anything like that? Just curious as to what your thoughts are on that.
I mean, here's the thing, though. We got to get away from saviorism. It's not up to one man or one woman. It's supposed to be up to everybody.
That's true.
We're supposed to take responsibility. This is up for everybody. We're looking for somebody to sit up here and inspire us and lead the charge and whatnot. You're facing this every day. If you facing this, you and me and us and we, all of us are supposed to take this responsibility. This idea that we just put it all on one person. Well, Thurgood Marshall need to X, Y, Z. Well, LeBron James need to X, Y, Z. Well, if only Michael Jackson would. And meanwhile, there's 40 million other black folk out here.
Yes,
Sitting
I
up,
totally agree
that's a
with you on that.
psychological
Absolutely.
mechanism to offload responsibility off ourselves and put it on somebody else. Well, it ain't getting done because he ain't doing it. No, it's not getting done because you're not doing it. Whether it's law,
100%.
education, business, you name it. If it's not getting done, you can't put it all on one person. Damn, a one-man army. Damn that.
Yep, I agree.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. You can't put it all on one person. That's laziness. You're sitting up here trying to get one person to do everything. And if they don't get it done, then nothing happens. One person's supposed to pull the load for everyone. This is how we end up in that mess. Jewish society does not leave one person just hanging out there on their own. They got backup. If you move one of them up the ladder, there's somebody else ready to come take their place. So there's a number of them looking to get in the position. That's what it's supposed to be. You couldn't take them down and just knock off one. That's why we're in the situation we're in today. We used to have several black lawyers, got down to just one Johnny Cochran. Now you got down to zero. No wonder trampling our rights is so easy. If we had a black legal defense fund, it'd be a whole different issue. One person can't do it all. So I'm just letting y'all know right now, as individuals or businesses or whatever, we got to start cultivating that. They did it in Japan after World War II. They did it in Jewish society after World War II. As black folk, we can't leave it up to these damn schools and up to these white institutions. If they do create a competent black lawyer, all they gonna do is try to hire them away to them. That's all they gonna do is hire them away to them. Oh, you're competent, you're smart. Come here, Candace Owens. Caller Miracle 312, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, brother, this is greetings. This is Brother Zeb from Chicago, but I'm in Seattle.
Hi, Zeb from Chicago. What's on your mind?
Brother, this whole judicial, this is really this lawyer realm is really resonating with me, and why is it? Unfortunately, it seems like the lawyer class, just even historically, like it's very sparse. Like from Johnny Cochran to Charles Ogletree, it's not very many. Like historically, it hasn't really been like a bevy of and the term is critical mass. We don't need an army. We don't need an army of. The term is critical mass. That's the term, which is the minimal size or amount of something required to start or maintain a venture. So we don't need an army of lawyers. We just need, like I said,
No, we need an army. No, we need an army. No, in our situation, no, we need an army of lawyers. We need to make sure there's a lawyer everywhere. We need a battalion of lawyers. And here's the killing thing. We got them. I want y'all to understand there are enough black folk with legal credentials in America to service our needs. There absolutely are. Them niggas bull-jiving. It's not that they're not there. White folk can find plenty of black lawyers to put into a token position. Anywhere and everywhere you go. White folk know where to find a black lawyer to put in a token position. So it's not that we don't have enough black lawyers. We do have enough black lawyers. They're just not interested in defending black folk. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. They get off in there and they all start competing for who can buy a Rolls Royce the first. And we're going to have to take an honest look at ourselves and realize that's really what it is right there. That's really what it is. Let's stop massaging the language and trying to dilute it down and change it up. We got a bunch of black society is filled with a bunch of lawyers who don't want to do anything for black people. They want to shine. They want to get on TV, want to run for politics. They're interested in being seen and glorified. They're not interested in doing the quiet, unseen, unglamorous work. They ain't trying to do it. And that's why I'm saying that, hey, you and me and us and we, as individuals or as groups, we gonna have to start getting scholarships together so that we can pay for some of these young black kids who haven't been corrupted yet to go to school because they're idealistic. You saw that down in Colombia after the, I want to say one of the Supreme Court justices was killed down there, and the prosecutors were killed down there under Pablo Escobar, and that set off a bunch of young Colombians to go to law school and get their law degrees to go fight the cartels. And what I'm saying is, black folk, we supposed to been had that. So we gonna have to start doing that ourselves. John H. Johnson didn't do it. Bob Johnson ain't gonna do it. None of these folks here are gonna do that. They're not gonna do it. They're not. We are gonna have to do this ourselves. In addition to bailing out the soldiers and whatnot, we're gonna have to do that ourselves, man. We're gonna have to. We're gonna have to start putting together scholarships ourselves and putting these things together on our own. We're gonna have to.
I don't want to cut your wisdom, brother. I want to say this. I'm being serious. Washington State has literally all the signs is in me. Washington State has dropped the bar exam as a requirement, so they're already like literally, lowering the elements as it pertains to becoming a lawyer. That's one. And then for two, I want to say this is a quote from the honorable Thurgood Marshall. The experience of Negroes in America has been different in kind, not just in degree, from that of other ethnic groups. It is not merely the history of slavery alone, but also that a whole people were marked as inferior by the law, and that mark has endured.
Well, like I say, there are some states where you don't have to pass the bar exam, but that doesn't mean you don't have to pass an exam, and that doesn't mean there's not qualifications. In California, for example, they do have an alternative program, but you have to mentor for a number of years under a licensed attorney. So Kim Kardashian, that's currently, well, she claims she's still doing it, but that's that when they talk about her getting her law license, which she doesn't have yet, but that's the program that she's in and she's under is to do that. So in the places where they have eliminated that, there's still requirements for it. So don't think that just doing passing the bar exam means we can go ahead and take a test and we'll be okay. That you still have to be licensed at it. But here's the thing, no matter how we do it, we gonna have to start ourselves prioritizing financing some young folk who can go off and get these degrees and get credentials and be competent at it, and they don't get pulled away and yanked off by these white corporations, or even if they do, that they understand that they got an obligation to the folks over here who got them raised up. That's the important part. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller code 205. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, how you doing? This is Mark from Birmingham.
All right, Mark from Birmingham, what's on your mind?
I was just trying to make a statement. I'm trying to figure out how we fell this far and how we supposed to get out this deficit that we in. And then I'm trying to figure out why black people don't think they can't go extinct or something. Because we last in then every category. And people acting like it ain't like a state of emergency or something like that. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, I mean, certainly black folk do believe we can go extinct, but you have a number of black folk who are either practicing escapism or are just wishing for a peaceful death. So we kind of just got to acknowledge that. We got to acknowledge that. There's a number of us out here who are fighting and everything, but when you got a fella next to you who don't care if he lives or dies, just understand his not caring if he lives, his apathy towards life and death is going to become your apathy towards life and death.
Okay. And can we get out this deficit that we in?
Of course. Absolutely. Unquestionably. There's no doubt whatsoever that we can. As a matter of fact, it's not nearly as much work or effort as we might believe. The problem is when you've just been waiting around and eventually getting out of these things takes longer and longer to do. So right now, even to get us a competent legal class would take us a decade. Because that's how long it will take for them to go through law school, pass the bar, and then work for a law firm so they can start learning and getting mentored and taking cases. So before they become a competent legal representative on their own, it's going to take about at least a decade before they get to that level. So I guess we better get started. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get called from area code 917. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Steven. I'm from New York. And my question is...
Okay, Steven, which borough in New York?
Manhattan, Harlem.
All right. New York, Harlem, New York. What's on your mind?
Now, Whoopi Goldberg was suspended by her station, her show, by the people in charge, that she said that the Holocaust was not about racism, and they suspended her because they said that. Now, my question would be, well, what race are the Jews if they're not white? See, they said the Germans was white and the Jews was white, and she said it wasn't racist. So what race are the Jews?
Well, definitely, I already covered that on the program before when she said that, but the bottom line is certainly you have groups who are representing and claiming that. They're trying to tell you that the black folk are not Jews and these other folks over here, though, they're the only ones in that regard. But understand something. The definitions of words are controlled by who's in power. That's always been the way it is. The definition of the language is controlled. It is not an absolute that's etched by Webster's. What is in Webster's is controlled by those in power. And even if Webster says it, Webster's can be ignored by those in power.
Because I noticed that even the girl that came from Iran, she was talking to, I forget the guy's name, but he said, well, what are you? And she says, oh, well, I'm white. And she said it so fast because of the privilege that they want. And it was like, wait a minute, you can see this girl is white. It's like Nikki Haley. You can see this woman isn't white. She's Indian. But yet they said to them, you're Caucasian, but you're not white. And that's how they accept them.
Well, yeah, I mean,
now, I feel that's really unfair.
Well, here's the thing.
I think that's unfair.
Unwhiting people is a tool of power. Please understand that. Because genetically speaking, you can't deny their whiteness. You can't. So unwhiting them, when Anglos unwhite people, what they're doing is they're doing that as a mechanism to gain power. So by putting that stigma on you, they get to maintain their leadership position. Now, you'll be fighting like hell to feed the machine and empower the machine. Nikki Haley has spent her whole life degrading herself, trying to feed this Anglo machine. Then when it was her time to cash out, when it was her time to get her check and get her benefits, they turned the machine off. And that's the whole point. It's like, okay, yeah, you're white, but your job is to feed the Anglo machine. They believe in hierarchy. And that's the whole point of it. So unwhiting them is what allows them to maintain this hierarchical structure.
So whiteness is about privilege.
Whiteness is about power. Always has been, period, point blank, end of discussion. Whether it was the Crusades, whether it was the slave trade, whether it was colonialism, whether it is sexual liberation, you name it. When they say white, as Malcolm X taught us, when you say you're black, you're describing an incidental characteristic. But when a white person says they're white, they're not describing an incidental characteristic. When he says white, he means I'm boss. I'm boss. Mm-hmm. Now, you know that, brother. When a white person tells you I'm white, he don't mean the same thing. You know he doesn't mean the same thing you mean when you black. You know that. If he's in your face talking about I'm white, he doesn't mean that he's describing what you can obviously see. He means he's describing what you don't see, but what you damn sure need to know. When a white woman tells a black man she's white, you know damn well what that means, Emmett Till. And you know that she knows what that means too. She is telling you, I'm boss. I can decide if you live or die. I'm boss. So it's always about power. Power is what gives you privileges. Power is what gives you benefits. Power is what gives you protections. Power is what gives you unearned rewards. Power is what makes the machine go. Power is what makes all of that. Power is what gives you the ability to be the white foreman while you got all these black folk working under you. They out there in the sun and you standing over there in the shade, just like they were standing on the portion of the plantations. That's what power gives you. All these other things are outgrowths of it. The religion, the education, the politics, all of that's the outgrowth of it. The foundation of it, of course, is the economy, because without the economics, you have no power. You're just a spokesperson. But once you got the power behind it, oh, no. Whiteness is about that. Whiteness is about that.
Brother, I want to thank you. I love you. And, you're great. Ever since I turned on to you, man, I have never been so enlightened in my life. Thank you very much. God bless you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Why do y'all think Candace Owens and a never-ending stream and parade of bootlicks and ass kissers are all over the damn place? The not so white people, or the ones who are not accepted as fully white, they want it, and the folks like her, they want it. Why? Because that's where the power is. That's where the rewards are. I started off tonight's program by saying that. Mark Dice said it. The money is in white supremacy. The dollars are over there. The transformative lifestyle is over there, man. Not the thousands you talking about. They're dealing with millions and tens and hundreds of millions when you talking about white supremacy. That's where the money and the power is. You damn right it's a knife fight. You damn right it's a knockdown drag out. And if you get in the way, you can get it too. That's the other thing that power does. Power allows you to steamroll people. So if you get in the way of what they doing, you can get it too. You can get it too. The circular firing squad is not intended to destroy white supremacy. It is intended to refine it and purify it, which is what it will do. We'll see who prevails in this. We'll see which side of the faction prevails in this. It'll be interesting to see. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go and check out our groundbreaking, best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified Race Wars, soon to be 8 a.m., available on DVD and streaming. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program. Thank you for watching live or recorded. Thank you to all the new members that we have here. Thank you to everyone who has contributed on PayPal, Venmo, Super Chat. Thank you to all of you. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future